back at the Tony and Tim show. I'm Tony.
And I'm Tim.
Of course, a very, very long weekend where we had lots of football being played. Interesting scenes in the Premier League. There was a lot of football played, but generally a bad day at the office for most of the teams.
Yeah, there was good football, but almost all the big sides struggled to get results, or others didn't get results on it.
And there were results, very, very interesting ones. Kicking off that big game, of course, that we gave you in our game match of the weekend. Liverpool hosting Chelsea and drawing that one out 1-1. Liverpool dropping points again at the death.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool dropping points. I had predicted Liverpool to win this one, Tony. But I thought both teams came with respect for the opponent, especially Liverpool benching Mane and also Firmino. I do not know what.
Let's talk about that team selection for a second. What happens to Jurgen Klopp? Mane and Firmino have been mainstays in this Liverpool side, unless injured. A game of this magnitude, they are both fit and they kept on the bench. I don't know what Liverpool fans might have been thinking across the globe.
I'm still trying to figure out what Klopp thought about benching these two guys. But every time I see Chamberlain starting, I think that is an approach. A coach says this guy is defensive, though he's an attacker. So I try to understand that position, which I thought would have worked up maybe the 60th minute. But I don't know, Sturridge has not been playing. And then you bring him to such a big game, Tony. I lost it. I don't know what Klopp thought.
Of course, it must have been very painful to take for those Liverpool fans. Firmino in particular is a player that we've talked about. He doesn't give you lots of goals, but he plays very, very good link-up play, especially with Mane and Salah following him. I think he's a player that should have deserved the starting back in this one. We saw Sturridge not having a very, very big effect on the game. So it was very, very curious to find out. We would like to hear what Jurgen Klopp has mentioned. Of course, he hasn't yet come out to mention a single thing, but we saw the reaction of Mane at the end when he came.
Mane was right to react. I think he was asking Klopp, I can't do anything in 2 minutes. It was wrong to put me there. So I don't know, they had an intense discussion, and I think Mane is questioning. He's one of the best players, top 3, top 2. And then not to play a big game, I don't think it's right.
I think it was definitely unfair for him, but Salah, of course, the league's top scorer, we mentioned him in the build-up, still coming up with another goal against his former employers and choosing not to celebrate.
He chose not to celebrate. I do not really have any problem with a former player celebrating, Tony. So, but if he takes this approach of not celebrating, it's respect too, which is okay for me. But yeah, I don't know. The confidence this young man has it's too much now. He's able to boost it, and I was seeing him actually shielding this big Chelsea defender. And they gave him this space and opportunity to cuddle the ball around there.
I think he's definitely built up confidence for himself. He's been having very, very good games all around this season. Top scorer right now with 10 goals. Only Harry Kane following him very, very closely behind. But he had a very good game, and Chelsea falling lucky with that goal from Willian. Very, very exquisite love.
Yeah, I think it's luck. There was luck this weekend, Tony. And Willian seems to have been squeezed out because he was trying to get to the penalty area. And he was actually trying to whip that ball back in, though it was like a chip. And then he mistimes it. And then it goes behind the net. I thought I had to question the positioning of Mignolet, Tony, because it seems to delay to adjust. Sometimes you have to take a step and then jump. You just can't jump immediately, but nonetheless, Chelsea had a goal.
Of course, I don't think I can blame Mignolet. It's very hard to read a mistake. that cross was a mistake. It was supposed to be a cross. Everyone could see it. Willian had run out of room to run to, and he decides to put it across goal for anyone to tap in. But of course, it was a very solid performance from Chelsea as well, knowing that they were away from home against a rampant Liverpool side. We've seen their performance. They've had good performances against top sides. So Chelsea was definitely wary of this one, and we've seen the approach that Antonio Conte has been taking against the big sides, especially we saw against Manchester City, him choosing to be solid at the back and in the midfield to avoid him being run over. So this was one of them. where he decided, let's hold that ball and wait until our chance comes. They definitely got that chance in the 85th minute, Willian equalizing. Points lost for both teams, if you ask me, in the title race.
In the title race, points lost, but if you gave Antonio Conte a point before the game, he would have taken it.
Of course, we had him complaining about the particular of his players, and them coming out, of course, to Anfield, a place where Liverpool might have had one day's rest after their Champions League game, in which, by the way, they also lost points. Sevilla coming 3 goals down and finishing that game 3-3. So it was very, very interesting. Of course, Liverpool missing out on the chance to get into the top 4 on the weekend. But of course, Spurs playing just after them and drawing at West Brom, still at home. We've seen this happen before where we thought they had a gas. And
Tony, 2 weeks ago we had thought Tottenham had overcome the Wembley Voodoo. But I think the Wolves are back because, they got a goal later on in the game, but you did not see the team ticking. They lost this touch. In some moments, I thought West Brom was playing better than them. So I'm starting to worry, is it the fatigue coming to these players, or is it the small fights? Because we've seen Danny Rose complaining he's not in the squad these days in the Premier League. He's been playing Champions League. Are these the small talks behind? Is there something we're missing out?
Of course, it's very, very... Spurs have had indifferential form in the past few games. They lost to Arsenal 2-0 and then went to Germany and beat Borussia Dortmund convincingly. We would have thought that maybe that game would have brought them back to their mojo, but still showing signs of weakness. Of course, that West Brom team just putting their foot off the gas. They had played very well when they got after they got that goal. That was a mistake in midfield by Dele Alli, a player that we also think has lost a bit of his pace.
Ali looked so casual. I saw him trying to stop that ball, and he didn't have this vigor even to chase the player. He was so relaxed. I don't know.
So it's definitely something that they need to bounce back from very, very immediately, because now they find themselves out of the top 4.
They are out of the top 4
this season.
They even have a big game tomorrow. I think they may not win that game, so the Tottenham needs to re-strategize and fight back. They
definitely need to work so much in that one. And of course, at the same time, we had another team struggling for a win. United coming out victorious 1-0 against Brighton.
And through an own goal.
Through a very, very heavy deflection.
So, thanks to Brighton, Tony, I thought Chris Hughton set up his team before the game. He actually says he wants to be compact and make sure he's not overrun. And he keeps his goal line at halftime. They even had the better chance going to the halftime from knockout. But I thought this team had set up so well in that United had few and far chances apart. So if a team is able to be that compact and fail to engage and fail to give space to the opponent, I see Brighton going really far with their tactics, and this worked for them. United was lucky, you say, Tony, and I did not see where they're going to get a goal. Which goal even before the corner kick I thought was debatable.
The corner kick was definitely debatable. The last touch appeared to be coming from Lukaku's foot, but of course, like we always say in real time, sometimes you might think that it's a defender that came and knocked that ball out. It was, of course, not a corner kick, but Manchester United showing some signs against the smaller sides this season. It's been a bit consistent for them, not coming out as we would expect. This would have been expected to be a heavy win for Manchester United, especially that they were at home.
I thought it was going to be a heavy win, but again, if you look at a United side, if the opponent is defensive, it becomes hard for you to break them down. But if you find an opponent that is going to play expansively and try to get a point from you, then you can easily overrun them. So well done, Brighton. I thought Chris Hughton is going to tell his boys, well done guys, we have no point from Old Trafford, but a 1-0 loss is acceptable.
Of course, Chris Hughton should be happy with that performance. He definitely mentioned it. He was very happy with the spirit that the lads showed there. It's not easy to go to Old Trafford and not be run over team of Brighton Station. They just came into the league, but they've been pulling out some very, very good and bright performances there, of course. But we had a lot of action on Saturday, and earlier in the weekend, we had West Ham drawing 1-1 with Leicester City. A game that I might have thought Leicester would be able to win.
Yeah, I personally thought it was going to be a draw because I knew both teams were going to attack, which they did, especially in the first half. But later on, I think both sides were wearing out and it was a draw.
Of course, that was a 1-1 draw there. Moyes failing his first home test. Yeah. We will see what we expect. Friday nights are definitely not very easy nights for any team to play. But of course, on Saturday, we had Crystal Palace having a morale-boosting win against Stoke City, 2-1. That goal coming in the 90th minute.
I think it's a big win, Tony, when you're at the foot of the table and you win. Every win counts. It counts. So, and I'm giving this Crystal Palace side a chance. They are fighting. This team fights, Tony. They've been dropping points, but at least there's a performance that makes the fans come back for the next game.
Of course, it was very unfortunate at the start of the season. Yeah. We would have thought they would never have a chance, but they started grinding out very good performances. Even when they were losing, you see them still fighting, trying to stay. They have good players in the team that should be able to fight, and now they find themselves very few points away from safety, about 5 points. We should be a couple of games and slip-ups around them, and they should be out of that situation. Very of course, credit to Roy Hodgson, who has come into the team and try to motivate that out of the players who are definitely losing.
I think he's motivating them. I think
that was a very big win for them, of course. Another big win there. We had Watford and Marcos Silva going to Newcastle and whipping them 3-0.
It's a surprise result. I didn't see Watford going to St. James and being able to get
win 3-0.
I don't want to blame this Newcastle side because Watford was simply good. They had several chances. They even did take some. So credit Marco Silva. I think the rumor around him that big teams are looking at a coach of his stature is motivating him, and this pushes him to maybe tell the players, guys, maybe some of you will come with me. So I think his performance is really top notch.
Of course, this was a very brilliant performance from all the players. Richardson in particular, Andre Gray there coming up with a few goals. It was very big for Marco Silva. Of course, he has come out and said he would love to coach a team in the Champions League. He's showing in his performances. He should be very excited now, and every player must be feeling it and motivated. Newcastle, though, on the other hand, having very poor performances of late. Almost 4 games now in a row without a win. It should be worrying for Benitez. Of course, he said at the beginning of the season that if the team doesn't invest heavily, they might find themselves scrapping through the relegation. It's starting to show they definitely are not in the relegation zone, but signs are now appearing.
There are signs, Tony, but if you made that statement when immediately they started dropping points, I would have backed him maybe and said, yeah, anticipated this. But instead, the table stand. He began with wins. He began by massive points. So why don't you continue with that way? Then we blasted the team in January.
Of course, we shall be waiting to see if Newcastle bounce back. I had thought that maybe they would have some chances in this one, but it wasn't to be. And of course, in the last Saturday game, we had Swansea drawing 0-0 with Bournemouth. A game that we would have thought would have had some chances, especially with a Bournemouth big win last week, 4-1 win. We would have thought that maybe they would still have some few goals in this one.
This one also had chances, I think, far apart. There was only one goal ruled out from Bonnie, but there was a push by Ayew. So Swansea City has to.
Paul Clement and Swansea definitely need to pick up their game there. They've not had a very good run of late as well. And Clement is a coach that would have thought he should be able to do good things in this league. He has come with a big reputation, and he's, while we say it's a casualty for sacking. Of course, Pellegrino passed that test brilliantly with a 4-1 win. If there were any warning signs from the board that things were starting to get patchy there. And of course, on Sunday, we had very interesting results as well. The big clubs still also scrapping through that weekend. But Southampton beating Everton 4-1 at St. Mary's.
Everton, we said last Friday, I think, that They don't have scorers, Tony. And they were lucky to get one goal. But still this team is poor. Unlike the team we've talked about, Crystal Palace, that tries to play. This Everton team does not play.
It's down the
you just look at guys who are sinking, Tony. And I'm starting to worry if these guys cannot get a coach who's going to assemble these players and motivate them. The Everton could be a casualty.
Of course, it's a big problem. They find themselves now almost more than a month without a first team coach. They are still riding on the caretaker manager, who you really can't blame. He hasn't assembled this team.
No.
He had to take care of the guys. But getting that big 5-1 loss in the Europa League at home and then traveling away to St. Mary's, another 4-1 loss. It must be. It's a confidence crusher for any player.
You can't be conceding 9 goals in 2 games.
9 goals in 2 games is not acceptable, especially when they have a goalkeeper in Pickford that we think is a very, very brilliant young
And even his defense is this guy. These guys are put them. Baines,
Michael Keane, Ashley Williams. Tony,
you cannot be conceding that amount of goals.
9 goals in 2 games, of course, not looking good. Things not looking good there at Goodison Park. They should be looking to pick up their performances. But of course, Pellegrino, like we mentioned, definitely buying himself some time. And I had mentioned before that this Southampton team has the quality in them. All they need is a push. And I'm thinking, team, that maybe these guys have talked to themselves in the dressing room and said, guys, there's nothing that the coach can do when we get onto the pitch. We need to start showing the quality that we have. And it was a definite big performance for them. They should be hoping that they'll ride on that. Of course, we saw Dusan Tadic coming in with a few goals. Charlie Austin, another big striker with a big reputation. He hasn't gone as far as we would have thought, but he's a player of Premier League bottom clubs, maybe the middle table teams. He should be hoping to put those performances regularly for him to be counted, and it was a brilliant performance for them. And of course, just while that game was going on, Arsenal traveled to Turf Moor, a very, very tough place to visit. We had thought about same result in the build-up, but we wouldn't have thought that Arsenal was going to snatch it at the death, getting a penalty in the 90th minute.
No, actually, as we got into the last 10 minutes, I really thought this was ending in a 0-0 scoreline.
And both teams looked like they were happy with the draw.
Yeah, I think getting a point at Turf Moor for any team, even if it's Arsenal, it's a good point on it. And with
the way Dyche sets up his
team. So, and Dyche seems to have resigned to a draw game. It looked to be hard when Arsenal scored that goal. But a big team always has to find a way to squeeze out these points.
Was it a penalty?
I think it was.
Of course. For those of you that were watching that game, you might have thought the same thing. It definitely was a penalty for Arsenal. But of course, it's very, very tough for Burnley to take there. It's now almost the 3rd time in a row that they've had to lose to Arsenal in the dying minutes. They get a goal when the game is almost up. They try their best to squeeze Arsenal. Arsenal doesn't have a lot of room when they play them, of course. But of course, in that squad, you saw that Mesut Ozil was missing out through illness, and of course, he'll be missing the next game as well. That we'll be giving you some of the news on our Facebook page, of course, in the next round of fixtures. And then, after that game, Huddersfield 1, City 2.
I thought yesterday was the day.
And that we get that City dropped some points.
We gave Man City a win, I think, in our predictions. But the moment Huddersfield managed to go into the first half leading, I knew this would be the day. But yes, they got a penalty and Aguero scored it. And then that lucky goal, Tony, I thought it was so it was a heartache to Huddersfield because they deserved the point, Tony. They really played, and I think everyone was like, can you guys cross the line? It wasn't meant to be. And Man City, I think, survived this scare. But this should be a motivating result to the other teams that these City guys are not invisible. If we engage them, maybe we can get up something.
Of course, we've mentioned before that to be a champion in this division, you need some hints of luck. And this was a very, very, very big lucky break for them, of course. Sterling not even knowing where the ball was coming from, and it hitting his leg, almost going over the bar and then dropping into the net. It was a very, very bitter pill to swallow for any Huddersfield fan that was watching that one. Of course, Raheem Sterling also winning the penalty when he was pulled down in the second half. It was definitely a good points for Manchester City, for a team that's chasing the title and hoping to keep that gap until they can get to a point when they can afford to drop some points. It's not in a game like against Huddersfield where City would be expecting to drop those points. And so this was a big win for Pep, and we saw what it meant to him. He celebrated widely at the end of that game. But of course, City now 3 points, of course, in that game and marching towards the title as we head into a very, very tight festive period.
Marching towards the title, and before they meet money, I think in 2 games or 3, I think they will still have the same gap or even wider.
Of course, we saw Manchester United starting to show some of the peppered cracks in the squad there, and of course, lots of transfer speculation starting up right now, especially around Manchester United. We saw reports coming from Spain that Madrid will be willing to offer 80 million for Anthony Martial. Would you take it?
I think United should take that. They have 2 number 11s in Martial and Rashford, so if one can go outside.
Price. And of course, there are reports now coming through Germany that Mkhitaryan might be making back to Borussia.
I think the best way for this boy is to go back to former club.
He started the season very, very brilliantly, but of course the weekend was very interesting. Lots of very, very tough performances there, and also a big game that we had reviewed on this show also on Friday was the Valencia-Barcelona game. Them drawing 1-1 at the Mestalla.
I think it was a good game. If I recall watching that game, though in the first half, Messi was denied a goal after it crossed the line. But
they do not have goal line.
You know, I was surprised there's no goal line technology in Spain, because I was waiting to say
they have it for the Champions League game.
But
they don't have it for the
But I thought Valencia played here. Barcelona had a lot of possession, as you always expect. But Valencia kept going, and yes, they even took the lead before Alba equalized. So this result means that the Madrid sides can cover, I think, 2 points.
Of course, for the 10 points gap now, they find themselves on 8 points. Of course, the Madrid sides both winning. Madrid having to scrap through that game 3-2 against Malaga, but Atletico winning their game there. Of course, 8 points now behind Barcelona. It was a big result for the Madrid side, and also for Valencia, for them to keep up the pace to that Barcelona side if they are to have any chance of waiting for them to sleep and take their advantage. So it was a very, very good result for the neutrals in that Spain league, La Liga. But of course, we have a very, very big round of games coming up in the midweek.
Tony, I think we've entered the busy end of the season towards December, and we have games tomorrow and Wednesday. Tomorrow, the big games we have is Leicester City hosting Tottenham. I think that will be a very big game, and we shall be predicting these games and sharing the predictions on our page. And then United go to Watford. Tony, I think this is a huge game for United, and they must be at the top of the game if they're going to pick points. And then on Wednesday, we have, of course, the rest of the top 6 sides playing. We have Arsenal hosting Huddersfield. I don't think Huddersfield can produce a result at the Arsenal Stadium. And then Chelsea hosts Swansea. That should be a return for Chelsea. Man City hosts, I don't know where they host Southampton now, but we need to watch Southampton first. And then the last game is Stoke against Liverpool. That's a tricky one for Jurgen Klopp.
Of course, lots of action still to come. We'll definitely be bringing you all those predictions on our Facebook page. Just stay tuned. We'd like to hear from you. Big predictions over the weekend from some of our friends that were sending us those predictions. It was very, very interesting, of course, to receive that feedback from you. And of course, don't forget to click like on our Facebook page, The Tonny and Tim Show, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Tonny and Tim Show still. We would like to hear your feedback as usual. We'd like to get excited when we are watching those games with you, and we share the live analysis with you. But for now, from us here at The Tonny and Tim Show,